is one word that makes many people and many students uncomfortable. The fear of disappointing family, friends, loved ones, or not meeting your own expectations can create some kind of pressure. Sometimes this fear can become so strong that it stops you from even trying. Well, today we'll be looking at how to deal with the fear of failure as a student and how you can turn that fear into strength. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Passion Achievers, where passion meets purpose, knowledge inspires action, and every conversation moves you a step closer to success. I am Claria Yura Aboga. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Well, our first thing we'll be looking at is to understand the fact that fear of failure is natural. Fear of failure is natural. Even adults who are in the workspace, they fear being called failures. They fear being called disappointment. So failure is something that is fear of the failure. It's something that's natural, and many people face it every day. It shows that you are doing whatever it takes to succeed. Okay, show that what you are doing matters to you. What you're doing matters to you. So you as a student, your success matters to you. So you are scared that you might not succeed, which is what creates that kind of fear that we call the fear of failure. The problem is that when that fear becomes bigger than your effort, then it becomes something else. The fear of failure shouldn't become bigger than your effort. Your effort should be bigger than the fear so that the fear will push you to do mega things that will push you to your success. You must remind yourself that failure is not the end, it is part of the learning process. Failure is part of the learning process. Remember when you started writing, you didn't know how to write, but through a gradual process, you started learning and now you become better. You can write well. The same way with speaking, the same way with walking. You didn't get up one day and start running. You started somewhere. And that is how life is. You don't just get up and boom, you make it to the top. It's a gradual process. Failure is part of the process to success. So when it comes your way, do not feel so overwhelmed and become sad and you beat yourself for it. No, it's part of the learning process. Okay, you must remind yourself that failure is not the end at all. Every successful person has failed at every point in time. Yes, everybody has failed at every point in time. Maybe in their business, in their relationship, in one way or the other. People have failed before. You see, so it's not that you're the first person who is going to fail, but that shouldn't be your focus. Your priorities, your goals, your ambition should be your focus. But when failure comes, don't let it weigh you down. It teaches us that the setbacks are lessons and not life sentences. No, they are lessons. You learn from it. So in the previous examination, end of some examination, you didn't do well. That was some kind of failure. But you will sit down and ask yourself questions as to why that failure happened. Was it because you didn't study well? Was it because you didn't ask for help from your classmates? Is it because you did individual studies and maybe a group study would have worked? Ask yourself questions. Then think about the solution. Okay. Another way to deal with fear is to change your mindset. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what can I learn from this experience? Okay. Don't be asking yourself, what if you fail? So try. If you fail, you fail, then you learn from it. Then you become better. So don't ask yourself, what if I fail? You're not the first person to fail. So focus on how you rise, how you do better, how you become a better version of yourself. This shift helps you to focus on growth rather than perfection. Of course, it takes time to become perfect at whatever you do. So it starts with steady growth, little by little, then you become perfect. Preparation is also a powerful way to reduce fear. When you know you are very prepared, when you stay consistent with your study, you prepare ahead of time, your confidence grows. Your shoulders will be high when you are going to venture into whatever you want to do. Maybe you're going to the exams hall, you're going to write a quiz, you're going for a presentation. When you're fully prepared, I know anxiety comes when you're about to speak in front of a crowd, but the moment you start speaking, you'll be able to flow because you are prepared. It is when you don't know what to say, it is when you don't know what your topic is about, it's when you don't know what you're going to write. That is when you have a lot of fear. But when you know what you are about, the moment you start, you'll be able to go with the flow and you become the best. My goal is that you become the best version of yourself because you can't be like anybody and nobody can also be like you. Fear becomes louder when preparation is weak. You must also stop comparing your journey with others. Your journey might not be the same as somebody else's journey. Everyone learns at their own pace. The pace at which I will learn will be different from the pace at which you learn. Maybe I'll just read, get the understanding. When I go to the hall, I can write. Yours is not the same. Your period for studying might not be the same as mine. So know your pace and don't let anybody give you pressure. Okay, your classmates' success does not mean your progress is less valuable. Everybody and how they study, everybody and their own progress. You have somebody who is always getting A's. Yes, you are getting a B. Yes, the person is getting A. You also want to get the A. Take your time. Ask yourself why you are not getting the A. Revise your notes. Do better. Then you become a better version. But you compare yourself to others in a healthy way, not in an evil way. Please, it's very important. Another important point is to separate your identity from your results. A poor grade does not define your intelligence, worth, or future. It only affects one moment and one outcome of your life. What truly matters is how you respond to it. Use your mistakes as your feedback to build yourself. Learn what went wrong and improve your strategy and move forward. It's simple as that. So you failed in previous exam doesn't mean you are not intelligent because you might have gotten blackout during the examination or you might not be feeling well during the examination or maybe perhaps what you studied for didn't come off which you're supposed to study for everything but yes. So you failing doesn't mean that you're not intelligent or you didn't study. No, no, no. Take your time. Revise. Why did I fail? Use that mistake as your feedback because people keep failing when they don't use their mistakes as a feedback to prepare for the future. The importance of mistakes is that you will learn from it and you move on and become better. So you don't keep making the same mistakes every time and you expect a different result. No, that is very wrong. Okay? The most successful students are not the ones who never fail, but those who keep rising after setbacks. They are those who keep rising after setbacks. So setbacks will come, yes. But how are you able to rise from it? How are you able to become the better version of yourself? How are you able to let those mistakes go? When you build upon them, then you become better. Always know that you're supposed to learn from your mistakes so you don't repeat them again. Okay, so if this video inspires you or taught you something very valuable, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep on pursuing your passion and keep achieving.